Hi everyone, Armoured Pants here, and I have another video for you in the French line. It's the Tier 7 Heavy, the AMX M4 45. As always, we will start with the tech spec and we will do a look at this using a blitzhanger.com, which is a great asset for all blitzers. Now, this is a very good heavy tank. I have to say I like it. It's well balanced. It was a pleasure playing it. I use the canned pate because I like the faster reload. But the view range is not super on it, so you may also want to use protective kit. I mean, it's up to you. It doesn't really make a huge difference. I like the faster reload, so I use the canned pate, but it's not going to make too much difference. There are various guns on this. There's a 105mm cannon, etc. But top gun, the 90mm gun, gives you the best DPM at almost 2.5k, which is really good for Tier 7, and it gives you the best gun handling too. 212mm of pen on the AP rounds, 225 plus damage points, very similar to the tank before, the R44. 259 pen on APCR rounds, giving you 190 DP. You will need to load up on some APCR in case you're up tiered. 45mm pen on the HE rounds is going to give you 270 plus damage points. 45mm pen is not bad, so I'd load up some of those as well. 1000 meter per second muzzle velocity, as with the RL before it, but supercharged brings it up to 1300 meters per second. But here's the kicker: it's got a 5.5 second reload, which is really great, the same as a Tiger 1 or a Tiger P. So this is effectively pretty like a French Tiger 1, and when we look at the historical reference, you will see that it's actually based on German tank design. It has 10 degrees of gun depression. There's very low gun elevation though, so be careful about that. You can't fire up very well. It has excellent mobility. The power to weight ratio is really good, and therefore this tank is mobile. It gets around the map, quite similar to the Tiger 1 as well. It has excellent reverse speed, which basically with that reload makes it a wicked brawler, very effective brawler, and you'll see a couple of brawls in the gameplay we're going to look at. This tank has a lot of variations in its play type. You can play it as a classic heavy tank, but because it's so mobile, it also offers you options to go down the medium tank channel and support your meds. It has poor concealment unlike medium and light tanks, but that's what you expect from a heavy tank, so don't go down a channel on your own, but you can support your medium tanks if you want. You can get around the map pretty easily because of this power to weight ratio, so even though its top speed is not that high, because you have great power to weight ratio, you can get around the map. It makes it mobile. It has some frontal armor, as you saw. You can both forward and reverse side scrape, as you can see looking at the relative armor numbers created on the sides when you angle up. But it doesn't have the troll frontal armor as its predecessor, the RL44, has in its tier. So you will get penned front on, and if you're up tiered, you're going to get penned a lot. But if you're up tiered, you need to support the other heavy tanks. Don't go off on your own. But if you're top tier, you will get some bounces and you can side scrape. Like its predecessor in Tier 6, it is vulnerable at the sides and back. This is particularly important now because when you're Tier 7, you're going to play against big guns in Tier 7, and you're going to be up tiered sometimes where you've got rim bore 6, ISU 152s, etc. If they hit you in the butt with a HE round, they can one-shot you, or certainly do a huge amount of damage. So you need to be very careful about that because you're very vulnerable sides on, as we see here. Front on, if you're top tier, you can be pretty confident. Even against your peers, you're okay, but when you're top tier, you are vulnerable. And this is very important. So know where the big guns are on that map before you move out, because you can receive a lot of damage. I would also run 2 repair kits in case you get tracked out in the open. You do not want that if there's a rim borsig sitting somewhere on the other side of the map with a bead on you. Historical reference, as we said, this is based on a German tank. It's based on the Panzer IV Alpha Bay, which makes it very interesting. So that's why it has, to me, very similar characteristics to the Tiger 1 in terms of its reload, its maneuverability, and it has some frontal armor as well. It doesn't have such good armor on the sides or back as the Tiger, but you know, it has to me it has a similar play style like the Tiger 1. But then, you know, I'm very aggressive in my play style, so I more hone on the aggressive characteristics of tanks rather than their defensive ones more often than not. But that's just me, and as I say, always what I give you here is just my opinion on tanks. many things in Blitz are subjective, so you need to adapt what I tell you to your own type of gameplay as well. So anyway, I've had a look at this setup here, so I decided to go to B. Why? Because I don't want to go down the heavy tank channel to A on my own. I also want to give myself the option to support my heavies or to support the medium tanks. Also, I am not top tier, so therefore going down the heavy tank channel on my own is not a good idea. So I'm moving here to use my gun depression. And as you can see, just by popping over my turret and going hull down, and by the way, it does have a strong turret, so I can go hull down here, and if any tanks pop up here, I get some shots off with exposing just the top of my hull, so good tactic here. I also, by the way, thought at the start of Tiger 2 was AFK, which is another reason I didn't want to go down that channel. P43 here has done a great job. He's spotted up a load of the reds, so I'm going to go and support him. Tiger 2 is not AFK, which is great, because if your top tank is AFK, that's a real pain in the butt. But thankfully he's back in the game now. Outside, I am going to go here to capture C. I take one on the side here from the Pantera, I think, as I move across, but I'm quite happy to do that because I want to try to capture C. I know the 2 tank destroyers up on the elevation on the naval fort are not going to have the gun depression or the opportunity to fire down onto me. I take one there from the IS. He was unspotted and I popped my head over and got smashed. But now here's the strength of this tank. Drop the adrenaline and just look at me pump damage into the back of this Pantera. The Pantera is a really effective tank. If you've seen my review of it, you'll know I love it. I think it's one of the best tanks in tier 8, and it is definitely the best medium, I think. But just look at how much damage I was able to put into him, and I'm able to remove him. The most effective fire system in the other team is out of the game now, so now we have a real chance of winning this game. This Dracula, he's all at 6s and 7s. I don't know if he has bad ping or whatever, or he just got himself into some sort of muddle there. Now I'm going to try to track this Tiger P, which I do, and then look, and this is what it's about with gameplay. Because I tracked him, I enable my allies to put a shot into him, and then we can clear him off. And just look at this, that's top alpha roll, 281 damage points straight into the drive wheel of the Tiger P. Now I'm going to slow this down here, because what I do here is I've lost about just over half of my hit points. I also don't have the best view range, so I slow down, push out my armor, and let my medium tank ally go first to use his view range to spot up the enemy. So rather than just popping out into the void where I could get smashed, and maybe we end up even losing the game, and what I decided to do was let the medium tank go first, let him use his view range. If there are enemy tanks or TDs around it, he will see them before they see him, and then I will have a chance to react accordingly. I just wanted to show this slow down shot here to illustrate 2 things. Firstly, the excellent gun handling on this tank, it's really good, and secondly, it's limited elevation. You see I had to go up onto the hill to get that shot off. The Dracula, honestly, I think the guy had bad ping or something. I don't really know what he's doing here. He is just 6s and 7s. And now look at this good gun handling again. I roll up onto the hill to get a bit of elevation to compensate for my poor gun elevation. And here we are. Now the game is over because we are lucky. Remember what I said earlier on in the game about your best tank being AFK, your top tier tank? Well, that's what happened to these poor guys, so not really a fair competition. I mean, the Ag Tiger 88 has a great gun system, really rapid firing, big alpha rolls, so really not fair in the reds that he was AFK. But nonetheless, you can only fight the games you have, and the last couple of shots on him allowed me to get the 5th kill and the mastery badge. Leaving that aside, and the reds were unlucky there, I think this illustrates the best characteristics of this tank. Its mobility and its rapid firing system, and when you drop the adrenaline, just how much DPM you can put in. and also the accuracy of the gun system. The gun system is really good. The gun handling is like a German tank. It's really, really good. I have to say, I really found it very reliable and excellent in all situations. And you just saw the accuracy of the gun when I was in the DPM war with the Tiger P. I'm able to track him, hold him in place, not just track him, do damage, hold him in place, let my allies put a shot into him and roll out, and then do a full alpha roll on him, clear him off. So, you know, the gun system is really good, and it's not going to let you down. When you have the top gun, you are going to enjoy playing this tank. So there we go, Randy Walters medal, very cheap one because I got the cheap kill at the end on the Jagd Tiger top gun and the mastery badge. So, you know, leaving aside the cheap kill on the Jagd Tiger at the end, I think the takeaways from this are the good gun handling system, the damage per minute, and of course that mobility. So let's have a quick recap on this tank, which is a very, very good, well balanced heavy tank in its tier. I think I really like it. I really enjoyed playing it, and it's a nice step up from the Arl. It has some frontal armour, it can side scrape, so it has those heavy tank characteristics that you need and expect if you're a heavy tank player, but it's agile and mobile. If you compare it to an IS or an IS-2, it gets around the map really well. Great gun handling, really can't emphasize this enough, guys. And you're only getting 212 to 280 damage points and a less than 5.5 second reload. 1300 millimeters per second muzzle velocity with supercharges, excellent. Makes the gun handling really good and accurate and dependable. 10 degrees to gun depression, but only 12 of elevation, so take note of that. You saw how I had to go up on the hill to get shots in at elevated angles. Excellent reverse, which makes it an excellent brawler. 212 millimeters of pen with the AP, 259 with APCR. You need the APCR if you're up tiered. If you're front onto an IS-3 or something like that, you're going to need APCR. Watch your sides and butt because you've very little armour, and there are big HE monsters in your tiers 7 and 8. The music is Bizet, Carmen, a wonderful masterpiece, one of my favourite pieces of music, and Offenbach, Orpheus in the underworld from Greek mythology, and the Can-Can as Orpheus danced for eternity with his beautiful yet lost wife. Cheers much, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I guess all that remains for me to say is pants off.